Hey, what's going on, guys? I am Jake from TodaysiPhone.com. If you couldn't tell, I am in HD, and it's nice to be here. Anyway, here's the big news this week. Okay, so obviously the biggest thing happening this week was the Apple keynote at the Worldwide Developer Conference, and as expected, we have an absurd amount of coverage on this. They demoed macOS 10 Lion, iOS 5, and iCloud. And obviously I can't talk about everything they announced right now, but if you are interested, I did 2 videos detailing everything from the keynote. You can find those on TodaysiPhone.com or on our YouTube site, youtube.com/TodaysiPhone. So after this video, if you still are wondering what they announced at WWDC, definitely go check those out. But seeing as we are an iPhone-specific website, let's talk a little bit about iOS 5. iOS 5 brings a ton of awesome new features, including Twitter integration, camera and photo updates, PC-free notification center. It's all very cool, very easy to use. I did a video demoing all of the major features of iOS 5. So again, check that out on TodaysiPhone.com or youtube.com/TodaysiPhone. If anybody else is running the beta version of iOS 5 on their iPad, iPod, or iPhone, I would love to know how you guys feel about it in the comment section down below. Personally, I love it. The notification center in particular is a huge plus for me, so let me know how you feel. Now, when iOS 5 was announced, Apple did the usual overview of the 10 top big major features that they changed in iOS 5, but there are over 200 new features and changes in the next iteration of the iOS software, so obviously Apple couldn't go over all of them. So naturally, since Monday when the developer beta was released, people have been combing through the iOS both on their phones and looking through the code to try to find some features that Apple did not announce. Now, one that I found very interesting was the deeper social network integration. As you know, Twitter is integrated into iOS in a couple different ways. You can tweet from Safari, YouTube, Maps, or the Photos application, and you can @reply, hashtags, whatever, all without ever opening the Twitter app. And you know, this is really awesome. It shows Apple is taking a step in the right direction and towards embracing social networking, but a lot of people were unhappy with their choice of social network. You know, Twitter is very widely used, but not as widely used as Facebook. I think a lot of people wish that they had chosen Facebook to integrate instead of Twitter. But this week, a story coming out of All Things D indicates that maybe Facebook integration is on the way, along with a couple other social networks. One of the features of the Twitter integration is that you can save someone's Twitter handle to their contact information so you can easily @reply them. Well, some people over at All Things D did some digging, and they found that when entering a Twitter contact, if you click on the field, you can actually change the service of social networking to either Facebook, MySpace, Twitter, LinkedIn, or Flickr. Now, obviously, there's no word from Apple on what this means, but it could be either one of 2 things. Either we will see more social networks integrated in iOS 5 when the final version comes out, or this could just be something maybe that Apple included in the beta that isn't going to make it to the final version, which has been known to happen. Let's hope that Apple didn't announce this because maybe negotiations weren't done with these social networks, but that it does make it to the final version of iOS 5. But hypothetically, if you could only choose one of these social networks to be integrated into iOS 5, which one would you choose? Personally, I think I'd stick with Twitter. Facebook, there are just too many things going on, and I don't want to have that many notifications and stuff coming to my phone from Facebook. I think Twitter's nice and simple. I like that you can send pictures from Twitter and some links and tweets and stuff, but that's basically it. Okay, moving on. Obviously, another giant feature that Apple announced at WWDC was iCloud. Now, this service is basically taking all of your media and putting it in the cloud, syncing it to all of your devices and having it available whenever you have an internet connection. This is definitely very useful, and this seems to be where the trend of most technology is going with the Google Music and Amazon MP3 music in the cloud or whatever. So this is definitely an added bonus for Mac or iOS users, but not everything is perfect. More specifically, it appears that the iCloud music service will not be available in the UK until at least early 2012. An article coming out of The Telegraph says that negotiations between Apple and the Performing Rights Society, which is basically an organization in the UK that ensures that everybody involved in music gets compensated and credited for their work, are in the very early stages. According to a UK music executive who decided to remain anonymous, tentative talks have begun between the major labels and Apple in the UK. However, all talks are in the really early stages, and no one expects to see the cloud music service live on this side of the pond until 2012. Now, this is definitely a bummer for the UK users, but I can't say that it's that surprising. The iCloud service is definitely a gray area where music rights are concerned, especially with iTunes Match, which could theoretically give people who own pirated songs a legal free copy. So I'm sure this isn't the last of the iCloud debates that we've heard overseas or here in America. Anybody out there in the UK, or anywhere for that matter, how do you feel about this delay of the iCloud service? You know, were you excited to use it, and now are you pissed off that you can't get it when everybody else supposedly will? Or does this not really affect you that much? Or are you an artist or a music producer and are happy for the delay? Either way, let me know in the comment section down below. Alright, well that's all of the WWDC keynote stuff that I'm going to talk about right now. As I said before, you can check out my videos both on the keynote and on iOS 5 on TodaysiPhone.com or on our YouTube site, youtube.com/TodaysiPhone. Okay, moving on. In application news, Daniel did a review this week of one of my favorite applications, Netflix. This app is free in the App Store, but keep in mind that you have to have a Netflix subscription in order to use it. But I'd definitely say it's worth it because this application is awesome. It works on the iPod Touch, iPhone, and iPad over 3G or Wi-Fi, and it lets you stream Netflix's entire Watch Instantly catalog, including documentaries, movies, TV shows, straight to your iOS device. It's definitely one of my most used applications, and if you're on the fence about whether you want to subscribe to Netflix or not, I would definitely check out this video and see if you like the application, and then I would do it, because you will like the application and you will like the Netflix service. Between this and Hulu Plus, I don't think I've sat in front of a TV and watched anything in a very long time, which is weird. And finally, a very interesting report coming out of 9to5Mac this week states that we could see a Sprint iPhone sometime soon. Apparently, the people at 9to5Mac talked to some sources that told them that the Sprint iPhone is in the advanced stage of testing at Apple Labs. What's more, they claim that at the end of last year, Apple ordered some Sprint cell towers to be installed on the campus. Now, if you remember, they did the same thing with the Verizon iPhone prior to launching that device, so this seems pretty promising. Now, judging by the time frame of the Verizon iPhone and Verizon cell tower installation, we could very well see a Sprint iPhone sometime this year. Alright, well that's it for this week, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and don't forget, the links to all of these stories I talked about are in the description down below. Also, if you want to talk to me a little bit more about WWDC, iOS 5, Sprint iPhone, or really anything, you can follow me on Twitter at TIPJake. I try to answer everybody that tweets me, so if you have a question or something to say, the best place to do it is there. And for more news, views, reviews, and much more about iOS 5, head over to TodaysiPhone.com. See you next week.